Hello, and welcome back to Voyage of a Time Wanderer. Today I am here with a small unhaul. So in order to make some room for some new books on my shelf, I have gone through and picked 7 books that I would like to unhaul. My local secondhand store buys used books and then you get book credit that you can use to get more books there. So once I finish filming this video, I'm going to drive over to the bookstore and see if I can sell any of these books back to them, and if not, I'll probably go and drop them off either at little free libraries or the leave a bookshelf in the staff room where I work. So without further ado, I will quickly go through these 7 books and why I'm choosing to unhaul them. So the first one that I'm unhauling is It's in His Kiss by Julia Quinn. This is book 7 in the Bridgerton series, and it is by far my least favorite book in the series. I've read it once, and I know I would never, ever read it again. I found the plot for this one to be very unrealistic. Obviously, all romance books are not the most realistic storylines, but this one was particularly egregious. In some ways, it was almost a rehash of the plot from the first book, but then it added on all these additional ridiculous layers. To be honest, if it hadn't been part of the series, I definitely would have DNF'd it, but I really wanted to have read all the books in the series to know how each of the siblings' stories would end up. I did finish it, but I would never read it again, and I didn't enjoy it at all, so I would never pick it up to flip through, and for that reason I am unhauling it. The next book is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. This is a book that I really thought I would love, but unfortunately I didn't, which is kind of a theme. Most of the books, obviously, that I'm unhauling I didn't really enjoy. The premise for this book sounded super intriguing. We're following characters that work in a bookstore that seems to have like a secret society that's checking out obscure books from the back. So I thought I would really enjoy it. I found the characters to be fairly flat, particularly the female characters I found very poorly written. And I can't remember the plot super well, but I also remember there was something to do with a giant tech company that was very Google-esque that I didn't enjoy at all. So as much as I love the title and the cover of this book with all the little volumes on the shelf, unfortunately I will be unhauling this one as well. And the next book that I'm going to unhaul is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. You can see that I still have the bookmark where I got 55 pages in about 10 years ago and then never finished reading it. I bought this book because there was so much hype about it in the book world when it came out. I was in university at the time, so I was already, I think, a little maybe old to enjoy this book. I tried to get into it numerous times and I just didn't find it that enjoyable. I watched the movie and didn't find the storyline that compelling or a reason to continue reading the book. I don't really enjoy reading young adult books, so I don't see myself picking this book up in the future. And it's a hardcover in great condition, so hopefully someone is really excited to find it at the secondhand store. Then the next book is The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. This is the first book in her Cormoran Strike series that she wrote under a pen name. This is a mystery series for adults, so I was really intrigued to pick it up and see what I thought of her mystery writing. Unfortunately, I didn't love it. It was an okay mystery, but it felt pretty long-winded. As you can see, it's a really long book, and typically I like my mysteries to be a little bit more punchy than this. I didn't really get emotionally invested in the characters, so I have no need to continue on reading the further books in the series. I wouldn't plan to reread this, and it's in pretty ratty condition, so it doesn't even look nice to keep for display on my shelves. So for that reason, I'm going to be unhauling this one as well. Then the next book is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. You're probably thinking, Chelsea, didn't you just haul this book in your big book haul from your mom? And yes and no. This is actually a copy that I had picked up previously, I think from the free bookshelf at work, so I might take it back there on Monday. But as much as I'm excited to read this and think that I'm going to really enjoy it, I obviously don't need 2 copies, so I'm going to keep the one that my mom gave me and unhaul this one back to the bookshelf at work. And then the last 2 are both poetry collections. I think I've finally come to accept that I don't really enjoy like Instagram style poetry as popular as it is, so I have 2 books that are kind of in that vein. The first is The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. I really enjoyed her first collection of poetry, and so when the second book came out, I ordered it from Chapters, and I just didn't enjoy it as much as her first book. Her first book definitely has some poems that I would go back to reread, and this one doesn't, so I'm going to unhaul it and hope that it connects more with someone else. And then the last one is Light Filters In, Poems by Carolyn Kaufman. This book actually does describe the author as an Instagram sensation, so it definitely falls into that Instagram poetry category. Again, there's nothing wrong with these poems, it's just not the kind of poetry that really connects with me, so I'm choosing to get rid of this copy and make some room on my shelf for poetry collections or other books that I might enjoy more. So that's a quick look at these 7 books that I've chosen to unhaul to make some room on my shelves for books that I might love more. I hope you enjoyed watching, and until next time, enjoy wandering through the pages of a good book. Bye.